All right, so I just finished doing VO on the road. Now, you guys know me, you follow me, and you know that I'm always traveling. I'm always going someplace interesting, but some of the places that I stay are not conducive for traveling and doing VO. And so when I had an opportunity, when I got the email from Jerry Pelletier here, I'm here with Steve Ket, and I got their email about traveling on the road and recording and matching your audio. I was like, yeah, this sounds interesting, but I won't be there because I'll be on the road. And then when I had the opportunity, when I looked at my schedule, I was like, I had to be here. So I did the session. I was amazed. So let's talk about it. Jerry Pelletier, Steve Ket, thank you guys for being here.
Our pleasure.
All right, so I'm back. I just finished the session. Very excited. You guys put together this whole presentation, this whole seminar. It's a one-day seminar here in Atlanta. Are you just in Atlanta, or where else do you go? Tell me about this.
We had our first VO on the road in Orlando, so this is our second one.
Okay.
We're going to be in Chicago on June 8th.
Okay.
If you go to www.voontheroad.com, it'll be updated to the Chicago information coming out here pretty quick. So that's our next stop.
Okay. All right. So this is the second one. And did the first one go as well as this one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but really it's our second one, so we're still learning, but we think we have put something together that people really enjoy and get a lot out of. And Steve, he's on the road all the time. He's kind of like you. And he would always present these problems with me, these issues. And over time, we've solved them until we got to the point where we've really got it down and compartmentalized for people.
Yeah. What are some of the issues that VO talent complain about on the road?
Well, I think if anybody's doing stuff that is matching a recording that you did weeks or months ago, that's where the problem comes in. Because if you're doing an original recording on location on the road, that's one thing. But if I've got to match a new line from a spot that I did months ago, I got to have a recording capability that no matter where I am will sound like my home studio.
So I actually had this problem. Recently, I was in New York City and a client reached out to me and said to me, oh, yeah, I just need you to read this one line. And I sent it back to them and it didn't match. Yeah. And so my solution for it is that I had to do the whole thing over.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people, that is the approach to do it. Because when you do the pillow fort, that kind of thing, your engineer gets the audio and it sounds like this. And you're listening in your headphones in your hotel room or whatever, and you think it's good enough. It's not.
Yeah. So one of the things that you guys talked about was the pillow fort. So for a lot of voiceover talent, fixing their sound or mitigating the acoustics in their hotel room is the pillow fort. Why is that not a good solution?
Well, you touched on two things there. And the one thing I would like to touch on before I get to the pillow fort is that really when you think about it, your home studio and your sound, that's your brand. Mm-hmm. Your sound is your brand. It's your logo, but it's your sound.
Right.
Why would you compromise that if you go someplace else?
Right.
Why would you have anything else that wouldn't be exactly like your home studio?
Right.
Because that's your brand. You don't want to mess with that. That's who you are. So for people to go and do a pillow fort, are there any two pillow forts that are the same?
No.
Chances are it's not going to sound like your home studio.
Right.
You just messed up your brand. I don't ever want to do that.
Right.
So our goal is to have wherever you go to sound exactly like your home studio, your brand. Because that's who you are, even when you're on the road.
And start with the word consistency.
Yeah. And you guys demonstrated that. You were in the car, connected to the hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
right?
sitting out in the parking lot.
Right. I mean, it was amazing. Like, he was on Source Connect. Jerry was in here, and you guys were also on video chat, right?
Yeah, well, we did a FaceTime video with it as well. George Whittam was here, and George just freaked out.
Yeah.
I think George has posted some stuff online about this as well. He actually videoed us in this room doing it.
And there was...
You got to hear what he sounded like in the car.
There was no difference between what I would hear normally in a session and what he was doing in the car. I mean, I understand like the car has really good acoustics. You know, there are other talent who have done things from the car as well. You might see some pictures once in a while, but I mean, it was just incredibly clean.
Well, we teach finding the right gear that works for you. And there's a lot of choices out there. And one size doesn't fit all, but you really owe it to yourself to educate yourself as to what is going to work for me and my travel plans or how I work in VO.
And I know this sounds a little cryptic, and you know it because you've seen it, but we have what we call our secret sauce. And it is the cherry on top. And that's why when he's out in the car, that's why it sounded that good out there. I mean, we had him read a script. He did a couple scripts, and people here were just like, they couldn't believe what they were hearing. And they didn't know he was in the car. So we FaceTime. He goes, yeah, here I am. This is how I...
And it sounds like my booth at home. I have a $12,000 Studio Bricks booth. And I can get a car to sound like that as well when I'm on the road.
Yeah, it was pretty remarkable, like to actually hear it.
Yeah,
it was pretty remarkable.
That was a live application of how you get it to sound like your home, your brand, in a car, in the parking lot, using hotel Wi-Fi.
So, listen, I don't want you to give away the secret sauce, but are there any freebies that you can give? Just a lob, not the dunk.
Well, I don't know, Jerry might like me to share this, but people get into microphones. And for me, I want a microphone that's going to be forgiving. I'm going to be able to work with it in my Studio Bricks booth, and I can take it on the road. And for me, that's a Sennheiser 416. There were people we met today in today's session that don't use that, but I think we were able to demonstrate that if you want to travel on the road and have consistency, that's something you have to consider. Is what is the microphone that you're currently using? What does that require if you're to go on the road?
Well, there's a lot of microphones that people use at home, and I've seen them use it on the road, but the's a lot more mitigation that we have to do. Now, the 416 might not sound like the microphone that you have. Let's say you have a TLM 103 at home. But, you know, our working relationship with George Whittam, though, he can get your road gear to match exactly like your home studio with different things that George does.
The 416 is a great road mic.
Bulletproof.
Because it can take a lot of abuse,
and it takes nothing in your backpack.
Well, there's a reason that it's been used on Hollywood movie sets. You know, that's that mic that you see with the big,
the boom mic.
The boom mic. You know, if it's good enough in those situations to catch actors moving around in a room, it's good enough for me.
So our thing, in a nutshell, is we went through the whole process because every time you go on the road, it's different. And people stress out about that. First of all, how do you get your road gear to sound exactly like your home system anywhere you go? So there's a process to that. And our thing is to take care of that with this entire seminar so that people have a consistency every time they go. It's their brand, but they also have peace of mind now. They've already worked through this entire problem so that when you go and you have a live session or whatever you have, all that's gone. And you take away all the stress and anxiety and you're able to do you. Because you know you've got the same sound you got at home, you know it's going to sound good, and all that stress is gone.
And personally, I've stressed a lot, right? What was interesting is that, so I also use the 416, even though I travel with a Rode NTG3. But it's not just about what you have, it's about how you use it. Right?
And matching it to your home system.
Absolutely. So if you don't know how to use it, which I think is where George comes in, you know, it's a waste.
And understanding that before you even turn the equipment on, it's about getting back to mitigating the noise, creating the proper recording environment, and understanding those acoustics. Because if you don't start there, I don't care what kind of mic and equipment you got, it's just not going to work.
And the other thing is you can have a sound that sounds incredible on the road, but it may not match what you have in your home studio.
So obviously, like you said, you travel a lot. What are some of the things that you encountered when developing this system?
Your cell phone plan. If you're I travel to Puerto Rico, and You got to understand if you're going to use your cell phone, what are you capable of with your existing plan?
That's true. One of the things that we, as voiceover talent, do are live sessions.
Yeah. And you want to be able to access the internet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you mentioned some of the cities that you guys are going to be in. What happens if, say, for instance, you're going to Chicago and I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? So I don't get a chance to come out to Chicago to see what you're teaching. How do I get that knowledge?
It's real hard because it's hard for us to disseminate that.
Mm-hmm.
We've had people say, let me just do a session with you. It doesn't translate without seeing Steve in the car, without all these other equipment that's here, so that we can physically show you. The thing is when we did Orlando, we had people from North Carolina, Boston, Nashville, Chicago.
Well, today we had somebody from Los
LA.
Angeles fly here.
Yep, and then we had people from Charlotte that were here, and then I've already gotten a ton more interest from Chicago, and it's worth the trip. It's worth the trip. And the other thing is that Steve and I, Source Connect 4.0 is going to change people's lives. It really will. We showed you that here.
Yes.
Steve and I were beta testers on that. I was in London with Rebecca Wilson, and she showed it to me live. You got to see it here as well. And in Chicago, Source Elements will be in the room with us.
Oh, wow.
And they will finally debut 4.0, which works without any port mapping, connects to any Wi-Fi anywhere with a solid handshake in under 2 seconds, and works with PC and Mac. It's going to change people's lives.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it opens up more doorways. But again, that's just part of the tool in the toolbox setup that you need the whole ensemble of how to make all of that work together in its own little orchestra or symphony to create the VO on the road consistency.
So how do people find out about your next sessions? Where you're going to be? Because I would think most voiceover talent are going to want to know, how do you do this? What is it that they're missing? Because it's so difficult getting information. Even at VO Atlanta, which is coming up very, very soon, oh, we're in the hotel. Gosh, this sounds terrible.
Let me send a picture of my pillow for it.
Yeah. I mean, I have some video and stuff of me doing some pretty crazy stuff and trying out a lot of things. I've tried out the Chaotica eyeball. Yeah. I've tried out one of those box boots things with the foam inside.
We teach you how to travel with a backpack, and that's it. You carry on backpack. Search out VOOntheroad.com. It's that simple.
So the Chicago thing will be on there, and George Whittam, who's here, George has been around a long time. He's seen it all. Okay. After this was the first one that he was at live in person. He's like, you got to come. We got to get you to LA. So he's going to be a big proponent of us going to LA. We probably go to Dallas and fit there as well. So right now we're looking at Chicago's next, probably Dallas, and then maybe LA.
Guys, thank you for doing this. Thank you for this interview, but also thank you very much for bringing this. And I don't know how you got my email, but thank you for finding it. I don't know if you guys are just spammers or what. I don't know.
We're stalkers.
And usually, stalking is fine. You found me. But I appreciate it. And I'm so glad to have come here and met you guys.
Same here.
Pretty cool guys,
Thank you, Dave.
Pretty cool guys.
Tell our wives about that.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I'm Dane Reid. Again, look up VO on the Road. Follow these guys. Sign up for this one-day seminar. The value that you get out of it is enormous. Especially for someone like myself, it's enormous. So thank you so much, guys. I'm Dane Reid, the voiceover guy, and I'll see you later. I'm out. Peace. Yeah, so I really had a good time with this session today, and it was super valuable. I cannot tell you how many times I've been somewhere and the noise was just like crazy, and this session has really helped me figure out what I need to do. And definitely scheduling more time with George the Tech is gonna be super important. for my future travels. So as I plan my trip to Japan and Korea and Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam, this is at the top of my list because this is how I pay for this stuff. Anyway, thanks guys for watching, and definitely thank Jerry and Steve for putting this on. Get in contact with them.